Hello again. So what's interesting about these two teams is that both teams were so dominant in like the regular season that it's hard to really say anything about them. It's worth saying that PSG Talent are statistically the best team coming into Worlds based on the regular season, but like R7 are also right up there. R7 tended to ban like the Nico, Levi and LeBlanc, so expect to see them banned. The Poppy, the Sejuani and Draven were regularly banned against them as well, and you can see that the Poppy's already been banned. If I was PSG, I'd be looking to ban out Oddie a little bit because Mirio can only play control mages. So I would like to see an Ori ban here. If it drops in the order, I'd be very surprised. I think if R7 can't get it first, then that will really nerf their play. Seo also has quite a thin pool for R7. He's mostly played the Zyra and Kai'Sa. He does like the Ezreal a little bit as well, and Lyles has mostly played engage supports. He's only got 2 games of enchanted supports all year, so expect to see him playing in engage. As I said, PSG Talent are basically the best team coming in. The only thing that's regular is that they ban LeBlanc over 50% of the time, but other than that, they haven't really done too much consistently. So the fact that they haven't banned him here is not that surprising. In terms of predictions for this series, I would say it should be a comfortable 2-0 for PSG. Despite teams both being very good statistically, I'd say PSG Talent are significantly better and have done it against significantly better competition. The Jarvan's a little bit surprising. Yanja does like the Jarvan and has liked her Jarvans historically, but like I don't think it's necessarily the best for this team. They like a lot more. They do like their engage, but they also look quite good on their penal champs. And so I don't know. As I said, the Ezreal is a favoured champion of Seo, despite his very thin pool. So what I don't get, right, is how has the Ori still not got any presence? R7 can exclusively have a mid laner who can only play in like mages. He can only play like Orianna type champions, right? And yet, Orianna's not been picked or away from him. It's not been banned away from him, and it's not been picked in the first 2 picks of him. If they don't pick it here, I'd be shocked because people saw how strong it was yesterday. You're not telling me at Worlds you weren't watching BDSGG, surely. Or you didn't have at least one coaching staff to watch it. The Talia pick is probably going mid lane. As I said, Miro can only play mage support, mage mids. But like, I don't like it at all. Why? On the other side, I'm sorry, Zyra Khan is just not it. I'm just not a big fan of it anymore. I've never been that big a fan of Zyra anyway. Okay, so R7 are banning the Ori away, which seems a little counterintuitive because they would want the Ori as a team, but obviously they haven't picked it themselves. They've gone for the Talia mid, so I guess it kind of makes sense. Just seems a little weird to me. I just think neither team really knows their own identity. The Seju band's quite nice. We know what R7 like to play. They like stable jungles. They don't like to play they like to play the more supportive jungling style on Oddie to help Mirio get a more stable lane and to help Seo and Bong get ahead. So it makes sense. Especially when you already see the Renekton on the other side, you know that he's not going to be playing he's not going to be playing a more stable lane for Bong. I expect that this will be a top lane ban, and it is. I expect that this means Azure will play something like the Aatrox, no matter we already know it's into the Renekton. So yeah, I imagine Azure will play something like the Aatrox. The Maokai ban, again, another sensible ban away from Oddie. We know he likes his stable lanes. In fact, the Maokai was kind of what I was expecting to see him play. This will definitely be a bait hover, and this one will also be a bait hover. I don't know what he'll go for necessarily. The Viego was a little out of character for Oddie because it's a little less stable than he likes, but I guess it makes sense within his pool, even though it's not necessarily what I would be picking here. Although actually, what would I pick? I would probably be picking like the Ivern, and people might think that seems a little weird, but for Oddie, myself, I'd pick Ivern, not like in my own team, just because it's more stable. The Nico pick will almost certainly go through. It's a very safe, stable pick. I think this will be the Aatrox. There's no reason not to go Aatrox. It got quite a nice balanced damage profile as well by PSG talent standards, so it makes sense if you go the Aatrox here. On the other side, though, I don't really know what you go to round up the draft. I would say PSG talents has got a bit more cohesion. The Kennen's not a bad pick either. It's good for team fighting. It's similar sort of idea within like their team style, just provides a bit more team fighting capability. Oh, I forgot it would be it had to be a engage support. So yeah, I do prefer PSG Talon's draft here. It's got more identity, maybe, and it's got more comfort, honestly, because Oddie's playing off of his standard picks. So yeah, I guess that's what I have to say about this game. I don't know whether you can say anything more than that about the draft. As I said, I expect PSG Talon will 2-0 no matter the drafts, really, so we'll see. So PSG should be aware of the gank here. They've got a ward, as you can see down here. And so it should be quite easy for Maple to survive. He is stepping up like he doesn't know about it, but that's probably just so he can bait them in so that Yanja can get some damage down. As you can see, Yanja comes across to cover. Yanja is lower level, but it shouldn't matter because of just the way they took this fight. So that's really nicely executed from PSG. That's a nice way of countering the gank. And it means that Maple doesn't have to give up too much to stay into this lane. And that Mirio doesn't really get any advantages other than the XP advantage he already had, despite having a massive CS disadvantage. Well, this Rift Herald looks problematic. I think R7 don't really need to take this. They're going to go on for the hook onto Yanja, which is pretty nice execution. They've done some decent damage onto him. They're going to get first blood here, actually, surprisingly. I thought the Nautilus would go down first, and they're actually winning the fight quite nicely here, R7. There's a decent amount of damage coming back out of PSG, but they're just not able to get it down. When you lose first blood in that situation, and it's your jungler, it's never going to be very useful. And also, I don't know why they kept going in afterwards. It was a bit of a scrappy fight. I'd love to see it back, but Seo's going to get punished for being greedy here after the fight. I don't know what you're expecting. Like, if the top laner survives, is he not going to default back to his lane unless there's a lane that he really needs to push in, which I guess you could argue is mid, but it's not that deep, really. It's not like that important that he pushes it in. Here you go, here's the replay. So they're following themselves through a choke. They get hooked early, they get lots of damage down onto Yanja. So Yanja's now basically useless in the fight. The trade backs are quite nice. Oddie's also quite weak, but Yanja goes down first, traded back for the enemy support, but that's more important of trades in favour of PSG. And then they just stick around with less numbers. So yeah, pretty simple there actually. They just stuck around with less numbers after losing the fight already when Yanja went down. So, guess that makes sense as to why they lost. I'm sorry, that's crazy. How is Agi so far ahead of Bong, whereas everyone else is miles behind? That's actually crazy. Agi's so good. Oh, they've managed to catch out the enemy jungler here as well. Oddie's going to go down. Unless they can cover, they've managed to cover quite effectively. Actually, it looks like Yanja is going to be more likely to go down thanks to that Mirio ult. Yanja does go down. Mirio's probably going to get traded back. Or Lions. No, they're going to go on to Mirio. Mirio's still up, though. He's going to be able to get out here quite easily. If he doesn't stick around, he's stuck around. Why? What? If he didn't catch that extra spell, he would have stayed up. Almost certainly. That's really silly. Completely unnecessary. But I kind of get it in the moment as well. Lots of pressure on mid here. They're going to get collapsed on though. That's a really good Nico ult, very effective. He's managed to get 3. That's going to be Seo going down. 2 managed to escape, but the TP from Bong is reckless, and that's going to be him going down as well by the looks of things. No, he's able to get out. Very fortunate for him, but that was a shit TP after losing Seo already. Very questionable decision. It means that PSG could be able to get the Rift Herald, and they should be able to get the Drake as well because they'll just have the pressure. They might not be able to though, to be fair. Oddie's looking to take control deep into enemy jungler. He's going to meet Yanja. It should be a 2v2 here, jungle versus support. Manages to dodge the hook, so that's quite useful. Oddie's going to be down before Miro can join in. Miro actually fucks up and ends up in the pit. So it's currently basically a 4v1, or 3v1 even. Lions is going to go down as well. Yanja's going to be able to back out, and that's just really unfortunate. There's just not players to players. Ashley's going to be able to catch Bong for quite a bit of damage. He won't be able to kill him though, but it's a decent chunk. And that should be able to get them the first T1 mid. And that's pretty nice for them, especially with the Rift Herald going down. There's lots of gold into important players' pockets. They're going to get it mostly onto Waco and Agi, who I would argue are 2 of the most important carries in this team, especially Waco, as he's the only one with a real advantage in the game at the moment. So that's quite nice. They actually didn't get any gold off of that, but they will eventually get the tower down in the near future. So yeah, decent play. So we're getting a fight around Baron here. I hope that's not them shipping up for Baron, especially with Maple and Bong down here. Bong's going to be collapsed on, but he's going to get his ult off. He's going to get both of them into that. That could be very effective, especially as this is Kennen TPing down. Kennen's going to get his ult onto Bong, forces the flash out. This engage is also very interesting because I would say the fight currently favours R7 here. They do get decent knockups, but despite that, they fail. And on the other side of the map, they also lose as Agi goes down. They're going to be able to get onto Oddie and Lions in the end, though. Trading back 2 for 2 across the map. That's pretty nicely done, because I thought that fight was losing for them. Maple will die, though, if he's not careful. And Seo could probably catch Woody if he E'd in, but he'd also be risking his own life, so I kind of get why he's not. And he chooses to E in way too late. That's very weird to be in there. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised this has been so uncomfortable for PSG Talon so far. I thought they'd be a bit more dominant, despite everything. They're going to get collapsed on here, surely. They just get flanked by Bong and Lions. Or they are trying to bait that out to try and collapse onto them. They're going to keep doing this posture here. It's going to be... They're fighting over Baron, because if you commit onto Drake, then they just switch Baron. What they might do is they're going to move Waco down to try and look like he's going for it. Waco's going to get caught out, though. Fortunately, they managed to jump up and knock up, and that's very effective bait. I don't know whether it was intentional, though. They're going to get lots of work done with the 2 AoERs, and that's going to just basically be a wipe, and that's going to be Drake and Baron for PSG Talon. Or they could just push down mid. They're going to try and end? Really? I mean, I get they've got time. Ollie's going to be back in 20 seconds, and that's going to be the first one to come back up. That seems very optimistic. Maybe they're just going to go for Inhib. Inhib makes more sense, but it kind of looks like they're looking to end, honestly. Because I would rather get Drake and Baron over Inhib, because you can get that data. They're just going to get Inhib. They should still be able to get Baron here, but they've still given up on Drake, right? There's no way they should still get Drake. It's semi-clever play. I would personally argue that like they would be better off just getting the 2 neutral objectives. But they're going to get Baron. They're risking getting stolen as well, because Oddie's the first one up. The hook is going to try and get closer. They're going to get caught into this Baron now, like stuck in a choke. There's not a lot they can do. They're going to have to go into Bong. Woody is very low. That means they're going to have to give up the Drake, almost certainly. I don't know whether I'd call that the best play. It's definitely not the worst play they could have made, to be fair. Very questionable decision making, though. I'm not really sure. I say questionable. Matter of preference, really. Because they got Audi out early on in this play, and it looks like they're just going to try and brute force their way in. There is not really an issue with this as long as they don't get caught, because they are so far ahead at this point. And they've got Baron Plus buff as well, so the question is how are R7 going to try and react? If they look to get a hook, they're probably going to die here. Line goes for the hook. He's going to go down very, very quickly. He's just almost dead instantly. He's still alive as of right now, but he then goes down eventually to the Ignite, and that's going to leave them still in a 5v4. Okay, he's not the worst person to go down, but I think PSG Jan can just brute force this here. They're going to jump down onto Mirio. It's going to result in a trade, and Bong's going to go down as well, actually, so it's a 2-for-1. There's nothing really R7 can do anymore. That's a decent play. I mean, it was a bit over aggro, but like it worked, so who cares at that point? There's nothing R7 can do to stop the game ending here. Yeah, really nice play. It's interesting that R7 chose to stay on red side, because, as I said earlier, they just have a really shit win rate on red side. They have 100% on blue side in their domestic competition. Bans are fairly interesting. The Poppy staying from PSG, Poppy Lee Sin staying from PSG, despite Lee Sin not being great. In fact, they keep their same first lane rotation. The Nico ban being picked up is quite good because he was so good for PSG. I do question the Java ban. It's just comfort for Yanja. It's not that effective. The Rail ban again makes sense. I'm not really sure what you can expect early. It's always worth remembering though that PSG are a lot less restricted in their bans. R7 basically only have one way of playing the game. So we'll see what happens. The Maokai pick away makes sense, or even just the pick in general makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if this gets locked in, as Xero has basically only played, what am I trying to say, has only played Xayah pretty much all split. So it wouldn't really surprise me if he does pick up the Xayah. In fact, I'd expect this to be like either a Xayah Sedge or a Xayah Nautilus here. But we'll have to see. Definitely Xayah. It's going to be like a Nautilus, and then it's going to be Nautilus or Sedge, and then I expect the Rakan pick away, even though R7 don't really play the Rakan. He's a bit too enchanter for them. I expect that this will be like a Rakan, and then maybe a mid lane that punishes mages, sort of thing. Because obviously we know Mirio can only play mages. The jungle matchup is probably favourable for PSG right now, because we knew they basically picked the side of that matchup they wanted. I guess it wasn't guaranteed that would be the matchup, but like we can always guarantee that Oddie was play either Seju or Maokai in the situation. The Jace is alright. I'm not a big Jace fan, but knowing that Mirio is going to play something relatively safe, I don't mind it. I would like to see an Ori ban, though, in the second rotation of bans for PSG, if that's what they're going to go for. As I said, expect this to be like the Rakan. Even though R7 don't really play it, it's not a bad pick away. And it sort of follows up on what you want to do with the Maokai anyway. So even if you just want that duo, it's kind of nice. I'd expect this would be the Nautilus, by the way. R7 basically exclusively play Nautilus, so I would expect this as the Nautilus, and then they'll go for top lane and mid in the next rotation. So yeah, as I said, I would like to see a Ori ban out of PSG, because otherwise R7 should lock it in R4. I guess something like an Ez ban wouldn't be bad out of R7, just because, you know, PSG like to play it and it can be played with the Rakan quite nicely. Kennen ban's not bad either. You know that PSG like that because it's a team fight lane bully. A lane bully who can team fight quite nicely with not having to change anything about the way you play the game. As someone who plays lane bullies exclusively, which is what Agi does. I'd expect that this would be an Enchanter ban. I want this to be an Ori ban. It's not, it's the Silas, so hopefully the next one's an Ori ban. I was expecting an Ori Talia ban duo, just because the Ori is so good. The Ez ban, again, as I said, not a bad ban. Please be Ori, and if not Ori, Talia. It's got to be Ori, though, surely. She's just so strong. It's not, it's the Talia. I'm sorry, but Ori's just going to do so much more for R7 than Talia. I'm not surprised about the Cassante. It's not a bad pick. I expect this to be something like the Rumble, and then probably just a Felios or Kaiser. Just keep it safe. Keep it in something that you play regularly for Waco. I wouldn't be surprised though if it was something. I would be surprised if it was something other than the Aphelios Kaiser. And then if you're R7, you've got to respond with the Ori. Okay, the Rumble, not a bad pick. As I said, it's a lane bully who can sort of team fight. I would expect the ults to be a little bit suboptimal. He doesn't play it that often. The Severe would be a bit interesting. I don't think Waco's going to pick it though. I do expect the Aphelios or the Kaiser, as I said. I think Aphelios is most likely, honestly. If he sticks with the Severe though, I would be disappointed. Kaiser's been hovered. He's looking to stick with the Severe. No, he's gone to the Aphelios. Okay, I was right. Good. Good game, me. This has got to be Ori. There's no way you don't pick Ori here. And there we go. So I would say, arguably, R7 have won on the draft. They got more power picks. They've got comfort. Whereas PSG have just got comfort, and it's like a modified comfort picks. But at the same time, I kind of think that this isn't a bad draft for PSG, but I would say R7 have the better draft. But I don't think that means they win, you know? Looks like they were going to go for a bot lane gank. Oh my god, my voice is absolutely going. Sorry. Waco's messing up a bit here. He's definitely going to take a lot of damage. He could risk going down. Woody's taking turret power out though. They do manage to get first blood, and it's a support for a ADC, and the gold is on the wrong champion for both teams actually. So not the perfect gank, but it worked out alright for PSG. Worked out better for PSG just simply because they got first blood, and their ADC didn't die. But yeah, wasn't the perfect gank. You know, it actually annoys me how bad teams are at doing ganks when they have turret prio. Decent Maokai are. They got the turret prio right this time, as it's on the support, and they managed to get Sayer without too much hustle. They probably won't have to get enough to get lines, and they don't. But that was a much better gank than the first one. What I was saying is, it really annoys me that teams like struggle with turret juggling, turret prio juggling, because it's just such an easy concept, and it's really not that hard to do. You just need to make sure that you know what the order of prio is, and like it's not even like that changes very often, because most of these ganks, most of those turret dives are going to be executed by three people, your jungler, your support, and whichever lane you're trying to get ahead, and it's only your jungler and support who should be taking damage. Like, it's fairly simple. Like 90% of the time. There are a few times where the laner should be taking it, that's when you're trying to get your jungler ahead. And like, how often do you do that at this current time in this current meta? Oh, another gank going off. Mirio has been caught out. Mirio's definitely going to be going down here. I don't think anyone else will be going down. Mirio's going to tick down eventually. Oddie's at risk, but Oddie's going to be able to escape with the Q. Really nicely done. PSG just getting advantages all over the map, and this is sort of what I expected more out of them from game 1. I guess they've just decided that they can afford to be more proactive after being a bit more hesitant in game 1. I've just had a thought. Isn't this group like way tougher than the other group in play-ins? Because you've got PCS number 1 in this group. You've got VCS number 1 and LLA in Brazil number 1 versus PCS number 2 and BDS, VCS number 2 and Japan number 1. Because like LJL isn't great at the moment; it's not in a great state. LLA and CBLOL are not great either. But GAM and Loud are very equal, and PSG Talent are quite equal to those two. So it's just Movie Star Riders who are pretty bad. Movie Star Riders, I would say, are the worst team in this group. And then on the other side, BDS should win comfortably. Decently executed gank, as long as Ashley gets out, he does. Mirio should be able to do something here, though. I'm going to continue my train of thought, though. But on the other group, BDS are like very, very strong. But then DFM and Wales are not great, and CFO also aren't great. Ashley goes down, but Mirio is going to have to burn his flash to get out. Probably not worth it in the end. But decent trade back. Looking for another bot gank side. Got bank side. They're going to get the cleanse out of CO, which means he'll be more vulnerable in the next team fight. They're also going to be able to get down the Rift Herald. I don't think it's going to be that effective though, because Ollie's able to come across and cover. But we'll see what happens. They do obviously get their plates, but they mostly seem to get onto Huge. I don't know whether Woody or Waco got any of those. I mean, Woody not getting them is not bad, but you'd want Waco to get all of them. I guess they had to make that play though, because they need to do it before plates fell off. Not very many plates dropped in this game, despite all the proactive plays from PSG, to be fair. They're actually not that far ahead in gold, but oh my god, the support difference is insane. And that's not where you want the gold. Jungle and top's decent as well, but the fact that ADC is so close, despite all the effort they've put into putting ADC ahead, is a bit insane, actually. So, we'll see what happens. Well, I've just found out my favourite football player of all time just retired in Eden Hazard, so that's a bit depressing, really. But hopefully that means we can focus on the game and we can have some fun, thrilling action. Not a lot's happening in this game for a while. I do think PSG are going to win this quite quickly, though. I don't see them losing this small lead. I do think they'll convert it. That was a lot of damage out of the Shock Blast. Jesus Christ. Yeah, decent play so far. PSG looked in control last game as well. And in this game, well, most of the last game, like once it could ticked over into mid-game, they looked pretty much in control. And in this game, they've just not messed up in the mid-game and the early game, so they just have the advantage. Mario's going to go down here. I think he's going to go down before the TP comes out. The TP to cover from Agi is probably a little bit wasted, but actually, I don't know, Bong, if Bong wants to commit like this, he'll probably go down. He's got rooted, he's got stuck. The ult from Rumble's pretty decent. They've wasted a lot of utility there, though, to not get Bong, just to force him off. And if they lose this fight in the mid lane, then this could be critical. The flash out of Waco means that he's going to be very vulnerable in the next team fight, but the fact that he survives is more important here, I think. And they're going to be able to get the T1 in bot, so I guess actually all the stuff they've used actually worth it. The only issue will be is that they'll be a bit shit for the next Herald fight. In fact, if I was PSG, maybe you'd want to bait out the Herald fight, just so that you can take a fight now, whilst Waco is vulnerable. Like, if you're R7, you want to bait it out so you can take a fight now whilst Waco is a bit more vulnerable, because you have all your flashes up on important players, whereas they have none. They only have Agis and Maples. So would be an interesting thing to see if R7 can do it. It would be a risky play because they might just lose the fight flat out, even with PSG having no flashes. In fact, PSG are confident that would be the case. I think if you're R7, you've just got to look to find a way to collapse onto them. Collapse onto a player, maybe. Maybe Waco here. If Waco and Agi step up in the wrong way, CO and Lions are definitely playing guard well enough that they could probably step up onto them. No, they're not going to bother. It makes sense because Bong's staying in bot and he's not got for TP. But at the same time, the cross-map play maybe isn't the right call here. But I respect the fact that they are making cross-map plays, because in the past, cross-map plays were not, well, even last year, actually, cross-map plays just weren't a thing in some leagues, including the LLA. In fact, actually, in some games in the LLA, they still aren't a thing, in the same way that they aren't in NA still. So you know what? The fact that R7 have just committed to the cross-map is fine. I'll take it as a sign of progress. Really, yeah. Mirio's caught out here. He's gonna die pretty easily. The guy who's TPing in as well is probably gonna die. That's the Bong. If he gets away, then it's not completely game over. But I think if he dies here, there's actually a realistic chance that PSG can finish the game. Actually, I don't think he's gonna get caught. I think he's alright. I think if you're PSG, you're just gonna back off and reset. You don't want to risk too much when Baron's up, even if it's unlikely that R7 could ever threaten Baron run realistically. Sayo just needs to back off here. Sayo's going to get caught. He's already been caught by a massive shock blast. Sayo needs to just back off. There's nothing worth fighting over here. T1 is not that important. It only means pressure for neutral objectives, which you don't have any of anyway. We're just going to die here. Why are you even fighting? Like, if you're R7, what are you even trying to achieve here? Save your T1. Okay, what does saving your T1 achieve? You don't have pressure on any neutral objectives because you're too far behind. You're always going to be playing reactive anyway. And now you've just lost your support, which makes it even easier for PSG to get Baron, because they're waiting on you to die because they need pressure to get Baron, because they're playing it safe, because they don't want to throw away a lead. And now they'll probably look to turn because there's only 4 of you, and Maple's just doing way too much damage on the Jace. Agi's going to be able to keep away like at least 2 players. They don't really have any ability to threaten onto anyone. They're going to turn. Bong's caught out. Bong's going to get done for a ton of damage. Mirio's also half health. Bong's probably going to go down here. Yanja needs to be careful though, because if Yanja dies, then it like sort of undoes all the hard work they're doing here. Lions is actually keeping Agi from going on a full flank. He's going to get caught out with the hook. Agi's going to get risking capped on here. He's actually going to be by Lions and Bong and Oddy. So that was actually really badly played by PSG. Bit insane actually that they played it in that way. They're not going to be able to get the Baron here. 4v4, there's no reason to go for it, especially when it's now 4v5 actually. So they're going to sneak it. Interesting when the game is so far ahead, and no, they're not going to bother. Good. Sensible. Really would have been weird if they had. Yeah, this is when Twitch chat comments that like this shitty play from R7 was just bait so that Agi would fuck up like he did. And it's just like, no, both teams just suck at this point. Like, if you're playing like this, you just suck. I'm sorry. There's no other way of describing it. You just aren't good. Yeah, actually, no, the fact that this sort of macro does get you to Worlds is very disappointing. Especially when we're in, like, what, the 13th year of the game? Like, how do you not take advantage of a 5v4 situation? Why are you making stupid fights that we've known for years aren't worthwhile? We've literally known since, like, 2019 that those aren't worthwhile. And yet you're still taking them, and you're at Worlds. Like, crazy. So PSG come into this fight in the choke, right? Like, they're sitting in the choke, the hook goes off. But now you're playing into the choke, into the Maokai ult. So you're clearly not very clever. Sesio's already very weak. Seo even is very weak. He's going to go down very quickly. Lions is also probably going to go down here if Yanja uses a turn onto him. He's forced to flash out. Bong is also forced to flash. And that's a really weird fight to me, because R7 opted to play into the choke whilst Maokai at least, at the very least, still had his ult. They didn't know he'd popped it, which meant they went in as he popped it. And it's just, what are you even doing at that point? Like, why are you playing into the choke, into someone who controls chokes? Like, I get that people don't know how to play. And into a team with Maokai, Rumble. Okay, we knew Rumble didn't have ult. Still insane. They literally control the chokes. And actually, Aphelios is very good at choke play. Rakan's very good at choke play as well, actually. And shot blasts destroy choke plays as well. So actually, you're going into a team that likes to play in the choke, and you're opting into meeting them at the choke, rather than like playing it around. And actually, Rumble did have his ult, I was wrong. So, makes it even worse. And yes, I am eating food. I'm getting very hungry during this stream. Crazy that. Lots of posturing's been happening for a while. I wonder when one of the teams is going to overstep. It's probably going to be R7. In fact, Oddy might be doing it here. Throws out his ult onto 1 for no reason. It's not like you're taking a fight. Why are you even standing around here? The hook doesn't make any sense because you're hooking Yanja. Bong's separated from the rest of his team as well. Lots of damage being done onto the back line of PSG, no, of R7 even. PSG should have been able to collapse onto Bong there, but he's able to get it out. Bong's going to go down very quickly if Oddie doesn't go down first. In fact, Oddie's going to go down. Bong's very much barely alive, and this fight's pointless as well. Woody Waco taking a ballsy play. He's going to go down for it as he doesn't realise the turret's targeting him. Well, that's game over. And again, it's another fight that R7 have taken for absolutely no reason where they've been 4v1'd. And it just seems like they don't understand how and when to take fights. It's insane. So after the previous 2-0, let's talk about the next game. The next game should be a lot closer, I imagine. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be. GAM and Loud are both fairly equal. I think GAM have had an interesting team. Have been in quite an interesting team to split. They have a high win rate on both sides. They've controlled neutral objectives at a slightly above average level for a team that's made worlds, but not incredibly. But at stats like gold at 15 and gold per minute, they're actually a lot. They're very, very average. They also give away first blood quite a lot. They've also had Playcool, who is their secondary mid laner, play a lot of games at ADC. They've recently brought back Palette from SBTC Sports as well. So that could be interesting. I mean, it's worth saying SBTC got banned from league competitions earlier in the year. But Palette was one of the players who was cleared. They've all played a variety of champions, but have 3 that they would consider as a priority. So the Kia in the top lane, it's Jax, Cassante, and Na. Levi, it's the Wukong, which has tanked actually a lot of bans. Maokai and the Ivern. For Catty, it's the Jace, Ari, and Syndra. And for Slader, it's the Kaiser, Zaya, and Zeri. Palette hasn't played in a lot of games. And it's not really you can say anything other than the fact that his team has mostly played engaged champions. But he brings a lot more of a balanced pool than Jin, who he replaced. So it's an interesting team. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. In contrast, Loud have banned Tristana in over 70% of their games and have banned Maokai in around 50%. So I think we can guarantee who their first 2 bans are going to be. The top bans against them have been Realm, Milio, and Seju, but that's fairly common. Loud are much more effective at getting leads within their region. But in terms of champion pool, they've also been relatively limited, but they also haven't played that many games. Robo has mostly been on Renekton duty, with the other Croc in his life mostly playing in the Poppy, who is actually also Robo's second most played champ, so we can expect to see a Poppy either getting picked or banned against them. Tinones has played a ton of champions, but almost all of them are control mages, and I wouldn't expect to see him play anything else. Tinones is a bit of an old man hands kind of guy. Root has basically played Kaiser and Saya, but that's not that uncommon. Whilst Seos has played engaged supports, which is again fairly common within this current meta. Worth saying, in terms of prediction, I'm going for a 2-1 Loud, I think, at the moment. GAM have had a lot of flaws, and I think the fact that they haven't been able to control within their own region, despite the high win rate, they've often looked awful in early game, sort of favours Loud a lot here. I think that's going to be GAM's undoing within this group. I think they could even potentially lose to R7, despite the fact that I would say they are the better team. But we'll have to see what happens. If it was another 2-0, we'll be able to get away quite quickly. But yeah, let's go. Let's see. So remember, I mentioned that there'll be likely a Trist ban for Loud and a Poppy ban from GAM. But other than that, there's not too much you'd expect. I want to see an Ori getting high prio again. She's a very strong pick, especially if you want control mages. Oh, Trist and Poppy have already gone out. I'd probably want to see I was going to say something like a Jax ban out of Loud, just because you know what GAM want to play. They want to play carries in the top lane. Rel ban, I guess you're just going to say it's strong, and GAM don't really like playing into Rel. But other than that, there's not too much of a reason. I'd quite like to see probably an Olaf ban out of, not an Olaf ban per se, but a Olaf style ban out of GAM. Or anything really that targets top lane. Maybe even the Croc, because we know that he basically exclusively plays Renekton. As I said, Renekton and Poppy are his 2 most picks for Robo. But we'll have to see. Come on. I want to see the Renekton. Nope. Okay, it's going to be a Renekton first pick. I guarantee it. Renekton is just Robo's favourite champion by miles. There's no reason for him not to pick it here. As a response, I want to see this takeaway of the Ari because Catty and Tinones want to play the Ari. And then I want to see a top lane response into the Croc because we already see the Croc's been picked. So come on, please. Basically, the reason why... So I'm going to explain this because I feel like I don't explain it often enough in videos. But the reason why you want to take a top lane response here is so that you can keep the counter pick on red side, because the advantage of being on red side is that you get counter picks, whereas the advantage on blue side is that you get the power picks by picking first. So you want to take a power pick, which is what they've done with the Ori, and then they want to respond with a strong counter pick into the Renekton. Counter the power pick that blue side has already shown, and then on red side you'd want to return with a counter pick into the Orianna, and oh my god, please no. We already know they're going to play Kai'Sa into it, almost certainly. So now, if you're loud, you want to respond with an ADC and a mid laner. You could even take your bot lane here. I wouldn't be too adverse to taking your bot lane, but if you can respond with a mid laner, then it stops your opponents banning out the mid lane, and getting themselves a more favourable pick, especially as right now there isn't technically a mid lane ban. I would say the Trist ban is technically a mid lane ban. But... okay, I'm not too against it because the Rakan is picking away from what Palette can pick, and then I assume they're going to take Kai'Sa here to take their side of the matchup. And they could take something like a Phelios, but I just think Root is kind of a Kai'Sa player, so I'm not adverse to it. Plus, I think a lot of these teams seem to still be stuck in the previous patch. Not that ADC has changed that much, but it's worth just saying that I think a lot of teams haven't changed since Summer Split. Especially after that first game, it's convinced me already that teams just haven't paid attention to the new patch. They're not aware of patch 3.19. I would expect this to be something support. A support would be good because then you've got bot lane into bot lane. Yes, you've got two solo laners. Renekton could still be a mid laner. We know it's not going to be because it's Robo, but theoretically it could be. Yeah, I want to see jungle bans out of both sides here, really. Maybe it's Seju. Both teams like the Seju, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if Seju stays. Nope, there we go, Seju's gone. I guess if you're loud, actually, maybe you want to take top lane bans, just because Kia is how I'm going to say it, Kiaya? I'm going to say Kiaya, has got quite a thin pool as well, like Robo. So if you can take, like, the Cassante and maybe one other, then you're like quite limiting what you can get. Maybe the Cassante Rumble, you'd be limiting quite a lot of what you can get. It's worth saying I am watching this after the game's taken place, so I actually don't know. I don't know the score, but I do know that the game's already finished. Like you can see, like here. I would say the jungle ban here. Okay, got a jungle ban. I wouldn't say Nocturne's necessarily the best. I don't think I'd expect to see Croc play the Nocturne. Especially, maybe it would work in this comp actually because the Kai'Sa and the Rakan follows up onto them quite nicely. Plus, Slice and Dice and of Robo means he can move quite a lot with the Renekton. So I guess it does make sense within the team comp, but it just doesn't feel like a Croc kind of champ, if I'm going to be real. I expect this to be the Rumble. I don't get the Lee Sin bans. Lee Sin isn't that strong, is he? Am I missing something? I know I'm a Lee Sin hater, but am I missing something? You guys are going to let me know. Rumble should be quite easy. I don't see any reason why, if you're GAM, you don't knock it in when you know KIA loves the Rumble. As a response, you've got to go... It's got to be mid and jungle coming in here. Something like the Nico wouldn't be a bad pick because it can follow up on all the engaged / dive you've got at the moment. And then maybe something that provides... I guess you want to then either go like Viego or Jarvan. Something that can follow up. There's the Jarvan being hovered. Again, Jarvan's more of a Croc champion than Viego, but like he definitely plays both. The Nika comes out, not too surprising. I actually quite like Loud's draft in this game. I think Loud have got the better draft as of right now, despite the fact that GAM have got the Ori. GAM's draft is a bit all over the place. It's like Peely, but also they have a hook champ. You know, I'd rather see a Brawl in this support position, I guess, or an Enchanter, but they don't play it. A Viego pick, decent. Probably the most out of place champion in that team, but like it still fits with the team comp. They're gonna go Java themselves. I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it. I do not like it. And so GAM have lost the draft quite comfortably here. One team in Loud has dived. Like, you probably engage with something like the you probably engage with like Rakan, Nico, and you've got so much follow up, like crazy. And then on the other side, you just want to peel with like Orible, Rubberlow, and Zyro all want to sort of get out of there, and then Jarvan and Nautilus want to get in there. So it just doesn't really work. It does work, like it's still definitively a peel comp, but I prefer Loud comp as a whole. It works better together. So yeah. Oh, I've just realised I'm in the way. You can sort of still see. You still sort of know. Yeah. So chat. Yeah, the prediction, the draft does sort of change my prediction. I think GAM lose this opening game, which I guess means that Loud probably went to. Well, actually, did I say Loud 2-1 earlier? I think I said Loud 2-1 earlier. I'd still say Loud 2-1 now, especially if they can get this level 1 off onto Kiaya. The fact that they chunked him out so much isn't going to be really relevant. He'll be a bit late arriving to lane, but he's probably not looking to win lane anyway, I guess. So yeah, I don't think it's that important. Okay, so Gamma engaging here, even though they're going to get level 2... Sorry, Loud engage here, despite knowing they're going to get level 2 second. A little bit interesting. Or at least that's what my counting says. Maybe my maths is just wrong. I didn't know which lane it was. No, but they should still be getting level 2 second. Yeah, they do get level 2 second, which allows Palette to go in and engage. But as soon as Seos hits level 2, he's actually got the advantage again. Root's probably going to go down here, but they do manage to get first blood onto Palette, which is nice. And actually he's not going to go down because Slater's not willing to possibly risk trading his own life. Very interesting. Neither team and myself apparently can count minions. I mean, to be fair, I was coming back into the lane having looked at mid. But still, weird. A weird engage from both sides. So the thing about bot lane is you always need to count minions for level 1 engages or level 2 engages, because you want to know if you're getting level 2 first. I assumed that GAM were getting level 2 first based on the number of minions that were just left in the lane when they were both level 1. And I assumed that it would be on that engage. It wasn't, because I can't look at timers apparently. So like you can see here, like GAM definitely always going to hit level 2 first. So they engage, which makes sense, but they should have been aware that Loud were actually very, very close to hitting level 2 themselves, and that they don't win a level 2 versus level 2 battle unless they manage to chunk them out quickly early. And so, yeah, they lost. It's just knowing your lane matchups and being able to count. This is going to be interesting. Robo going in is very weird. You didn't get the stun quickly as well, so he's already been chunked out. Kiaya has every advantage here. He's just going to flash them and it's going to be an easy kill. Weird decision making from Robo. Croc is going to be able to come and cover, but the fact that he went for the kill before Croc was there, very dodgy. Honestly, you just needed to wait for Croc to come across a cover. They win that 2v1 easily. But in the 1v1, he probably loses a lot of the time. Also, I'm covering up too much of Palette. My bad, babes. I love you. Good player. Root getting aggressive here without either support. It does probably favour him marginally. Apart from the lane position, actually favours Slater. As you can sort of see with the trade, Root was actually able to output more damage himself. And he's got more pots as well, actually. So he could be able to commit onto this. Really nicely played, actually, from him. Slater, probably, like me, was a bit questioning as to whether it would work. And the gank in the top side as well just leads them to take a big advantage. And Croc could potentially, they could pressure this quite nicely. Catty's going to be forced to flash out. Levi's probably going to go down as well. Just not going to get the eye. So actually, horrific plays in the end for GAM. And Croc's now just going to sit over that, and there's no way Levi can ever get the eye. So yeah, decent play out of Loud there. Yeah, this wasn't bad play from Root. Or I think Slater probably just miscalculated. Oh, we cut to live, and Catty's just somehow in the middle of a 3v1 gank. I'd have loved to have seen the build up to that. Hopefully we get a replay. But that's another interestingly bad play in lane from a player on GAM. And he's in fact the third laner on GAM to make such a bad play. Hopefully he got caught out rather than it was just weirdly opting into a 1v3. Let's see. So you see Seos leaving. See Snow's backing. steps up despite the fact that he doesn't know that Seos is left. Seos is then able to dive. Root presses R. Yeah, that's just silly play. You don't know Seos is gone. You don't have vision. You like. Right. Let's bring it back slightly. Right. You see enemy support walking down here. You have no vision. Your support is here. Most likely, the support either walks behind the dragon pit and stuff goes well and you're fine, or he walks down here and you see him. Either way, you're quite likely to see him in the near future. And is it that tragic if Tinone's backs? No, it really isn't. So why are you going up and stepping up as Catty here, knowing that Seos can do that if he's still around, and that Root has his R? Like, it just makes no sense. I'm sorry. That's just a appalling play from mid laner. Chat keeps saying I'm being overly harsh to GAM. Guys, I actually like GAM more than Loud. I don't know how to break it to you. Kiaya is a sick name. Catty is a cool name. Levi's an icon. Like, Tinone's, Croc, fine. Robot. Like, I kind of like Loud, but like GAM is so much cooler. I'm sorry. They just are. And Palette's a bit of an icon as well. Like, apart from Slater, like, I'm a big fan of a lot of these GAM players. Whereas Loud, I'm just sort of like, yeah, they're decent. They're decent players. I like them. They're alright. Also, Kiaya probably still wins this Robo. Weird to be going for that, as Robo has been kind of shitting on you in lane. But yeah, no, I'm not being overly harsh. Trust me, it's because I like them. If I am being overly harsh, it's because I like them, rather than like if I dislike them. If I dislike them, I would just say like, oh, they're shitting their bed or whatever. Like they're cringe, they're shit. Like they don't deserve to be at Worlds. Kind of like I did for R7, which is weird because I actually kind of like R7. But no, I think GAM alright. I just think they're underperforming in this game, which is concerning because obviously losing this series means that you then drop into the losers game within the elimination game within your group. So they now have to win two. They'd have to win 2 series back to back if they lose this series. And like obviously, the game against R7 shouldn't be too hard, but then beating the loser of Loud and PSG Talon is again very challenging, especially if you've already lost to Loud and are mentally in your head about playing Loud again. So like if you're GAM, you probably really need to. Well, actually, for both teams, it's really important that they win this game. Much more so than it was for PSG to beat, especially now that PSG have won, actually. Because if PSG lost, then it's like, winning this game is very important, but like, just simply not beating R7. Like, if it, like, before, I don't know. This game is going to probably be the replay in the final game, the deciding match, to see who goes through. But at the same time, like, yeah, no, I don't know, I'm withering. This is really interesting. You can see that Loud are like sort of committing down to bot. You can see all those pings coming out of GAM. So you know that GAM are going to respond. And CS and Root here, like they're like committing. As soon as they see TP, they run. And you can see like, look, TP committed from mid lane. 4 players down here coming down to respond to try and keep Slater alive. And that's just a massive overcommit out of GAM. Like there's no need to do that. You're like, in a worst case scenario, you're losing Slater, but you only need 3 players there, and you've already got 3 players. Yeah, you don't need the TP. TP is unnecessary. You've just wasted a TP out of mid. You could even bait, like, walking down, because they probably don't have intel, like, here-ish. They probably don't have a ward here-ish. And that would have been more effective. And then he's walked off instantly, and now it's going to leave for 3v3. They do think they've caught Croc out, but Croc's just going to hop over the wall with his R, and it's not that big deal. Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm being a bit overly harsh about the TP. The TP's fine. Just, I don't know. Maybe Slater shouldn't be sitting there anyway, like, realistically. Especially when you know that they're in your jungle. Just seems a bit weird. Ooh, nice. That's really nice from Root. But sorry, how do players know, like, exact execution damage at, like, a random level with random items, but don't know how to, like, do basic macro shit? That annoys me, because it takes so much more, like, game time and knowledge and effort to know that than it does to, like, know, oh, okay, here I should step away from my tower because I'm going to be under threat. I mean, technically, Root and Loud actually haven't made any macro errors yet, but, oh my god, that's a big diff in bot and absolutely no difference anywhere else. Holy. That's crazy, actually. What was I going to say? Yeah, but it just seems weird that you would know, like, random stuff like that, but not like stuff that you do every game. Because you don't play Kaiser with this exact item build, this exact room build, into Zaya with that exact item build, that exact room build every game, right? Like, and obviously Zaya, all that matters is armor and health, but still, crazy. I don't know whether this is because I like GAM, or whether this is because it is just more doomed. But I feel like this game is a lot more doomed for GAM than at any point R7 were doomed against PSG Talon. It means I might have to like reevaluate CB LoL. Maybe CB LoL is actually a very, very strong region. Well, no, actually I don't have to reevaluate CB LoL. CB LoL is a one-team region. Anything other than Loud sucks in that region. I'm sorry. I'm still in favour of CB LoL and LLL merging. You can't convince me otherwise. I just don't think there's much depth in that region. Don't get me wrong, I am in favour of other regions merging as well, which would include PSCS, VCS, and LJL, but basically all 4 wildcards, get 2 wildcard regions, and East and the West wildcard. But yeah, no, it's actually insane at this point. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe CB LoL's actually really strong. No, Pain Gaming aren't great. Pain Gaming are pretty bad. I think this is just GAM not playing to standards, plus Loud playing a bit up from their normal standards. I mean, Loud have got a very good draft, to be fair, into a GAM that's not got a good draft and isn't playing well. So maybe it's just GAM who I'm wrong about. But yeah, we'll see. Again, silly play from GAM around a choke means they have to use way more resources than they should. You know what? I'm changing my prediction. It's a 2-0 Loud. GAM have shown nothing this game that makes people think they're going to take a game back. Maybe if they get a decent draft game too, but like their drafting has not been something they've been known for this year. They've got away with actually quite bad drafts quite a lot this year in VCS. I would say CBT, their closest opponents, and who I will only ever call CBT rather than their full name. Like also not very good at drafting, so like they haven't really been tested on that. I actually don't think there's any decent like VCS team that's good at drafting. SBTC were pretty good, but obviously they've been done for match fixing or whatever, and they've yoinked their best player, who was their support from the team, who's one of the few that didn't get banned. So maybe it doesn't really matter at that point. Yeah. Getting a bit depressed actually about this. This is a very crushing series as someone who wants to see competitive games and see wildcards teams pop off. Other than the fact that actually maybe we get to see Loud take some games off EV teams and maybe qualify for the Swiss stage, which would be nice to see actually. Especially if they can keep playing like they did this game. This game's been well executed from them, whilst GAM have just looked full of errors. Errors, though, that we do see out of, like, EU third seeds, NA third seeds, even NA, like, second seeds, NA first seeds, actually. And actually, to be honest, even out of just EU, like, okay, out of everyone that's not from China and Korea, we see mistakes like some of them GAM have made today. So we see performances like the one we've seen out of GAM today. So, like, maybe Loud have got hope, and maybe I should be optimistic about that. Obviously, I'd like to see EU do better than Brazil, but I'd like to see LJL pop off as well, but I don't think that's going to happen with Utah on top. I actually think DFM will probably finish bottom of their group, thanks to the drama caused by Kazu and Seos being abusive little shits earlier in the year. And the fact that Tol2 no longer plays, which is sad, because Tol2 is a top talent. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, Slater just tried to back from somewhere it's faster to walk back to your base than it is to back. So I think we can comfortably say this is going to be a 2-0 series. Loud have just sort of hit them over the head with wallets recently, which is why the game suddenly exploded. And I've been distracted with something else on stream. If you want to see more of that distraction, come view me live on Twitch every day. I think I'm redditanalyst.df on Twitch rather than just .df. But yeah, this has been quite a boring first game between these two teams. Hopefully we don't get a repeat in the second, but at the same time, I've sort of lost steam for this game, so hopefully it's a quick 2-0. No, I don't really hope for that. We want to see a competitive series. Okay, you know what I was saying about Loud potentially being able to compete with EU and NA teams? The fact that they haven't finished yet tells me that they are very NA coded. Actually very EU coded as well, actually, to be fair. Just Western team coded in general, I guess. which they are a Western team, as much as people won't acknowledge that because of the Southern Hemisphere. But yeah, this is going to be a juicy 2-0. Let's go. Can we just end, though? Like, it's genuinely annoying at this point. Like, you've got no reason to not just go up to collapse on someone. You've got an 11k, nearly 12k gold lead. And you're scared. You're playing scared. You're playing like you need this third inhibitor when you really don't. Look, they're going to force you into it by engaging on Croc, and you just refuse to follow up until he's already dead. That's... Guys, please. Oh my god. They're just going to... Sales is just going to go for a dumb engage like that, and that's going to send you in. You could have done this before Croc died. You could have followed up on Croc. But no. It takes you to do that instead. Guys, help. Send help. I was feeling optimistic about Loud, and they've just done stuff that makes me no longer want to feel optimistic about them, even though they've won. Please send help. This is not what I was hoping for. I mean, I kind of wanted to see GAM win, but at the same time, like, Loud winning and performing well is fine. And they were doing that until it came to end. And now they've just made me depressed. Fun. You know, at this point, I'm just sort of hoping GAM pick blue side and then, like, come out of a half-decent draft and we get, like, a competitive second game. And oh no, it's a highlight of the previous game. I was so confused for a second there. But yeah. It's just... I'm not optimistic at the moment. Especially, like, it was just... Okay, Robo did some weird things, but I expect that out of Robo. But... It's just not a good end. Even the Penta. Wait, did I even see the Penta? I actually don't even remember the Penta. That's crazy. I'm actually just sad at this point. So, from what I've heard, GAM have actually chosen the correct side. I'm not going to lie, if this draft is horrible, I might just go to bed. You get lunch and skip the rest of this game. Because if GAM don't draft well, it's going to be a quick 2-0. And look, the players already look defeated. The ADC looked really upset. I can't even remember his name, but I know what he looks like. That's fun. It's gonna be a fun draft. Please no Yumi. I love the signs of please no Yumi, even though Yumi is so bad right now that she's not gonna get picked by anyone other than Sven. Okay, first two bans are exactly identical, just switch sides. Olaf ban again. You don't need to ban Olaf. Olaf was your worst ban last side. Jack's ban, fine. It's traded sides. Are we going to ban something new? Are we going to ban something that was bad? Are we going to ban something that we need to ban? Are we going to ban a power pick away from ourselves? Please. Ban? Honestly, just ban the Renekton. No, okay. You would win because Robo wouldn't have his Crocodile. And you're banning said you ban a pick away from yourself, which I know Catty can play. Maokai ban, fine. It's not the biggest deal in the world. I get why though. Maybe they pick away the Croc. Master Stroke. Maybe they pick away the Croc. The Crocodile. I actually going to... Oh my god. I mean, Kiaya can play it. Kiaya can definitely play the Croc, but I don't know if I like it. I'm expecting something like Zaya or Khan, honestly. Come on, surprise me. I'm actually going to speed it up because we're not live. I already know the game's finished. I don't know how it's finished, but I know it's finished. Okay, Zaya's not a bad pick. As I said, I'm expecting the Rakan here. Come on, just ban it. Just pick it. Just pick it. Just pick it. Please. Come on. You can do it. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Come on. Just do it. Boom. Crazy. Now they're going to respond with their bot laner. I reckon they'll respond with a Kai'Sa because the Xayah Kai'Sa is still what the meta they're in. They do. Crazy. Oh my god, they've gone for the route. They're basically trying to do what Loud did last game. They've literally just stolen Loud's draft from last game, except they don't have the Rakan, and I guarantee they can't execute it as well. Because they're just not as good. Take something like the... take a control mage that's good for PO here. Orianna's a very good one. I completely forgot she was even good at this point. Then you just ban away mid laners. You can ban... You don't want to ban... Maybe you want to ban control mages because Catty likes them. But at the same time, maybe you just want to ban something that can follow through. They've already banned away from themselves the first thing that can follow through, which is weird given they seem to have been planning to do the exact same draft that Loud did last game. If you're Loud, you just want to ban top laners, I guess. Or junglers. Rumble technically covers both, but he's really a top laner at this point. That's not a bad ban either in the row. I gotta let one of my flatmates in. Give me a second. The draft's pretty bad anyway, so hopefully the game's just gonna end 2-0. Yeah, no. At this point, the draft's already downed, honestly. Yeah, honestly, just pick Lee Sin into GAM. GAM is so bad that you can do it, you can get away with it. Oh my god, my voice is going again. Oh god. Oh, okay, the K'Sante is a more logical pick, but yeah, no. I think we're just going to skip the rest of the draft because we already know Loud have won it. GAM are just picking what Loud played last time, and they're not going to play it as well. And we kind of know that just straight from the first 3 picks. I would like to just confirm it, so we're going to stick it on 2 times, honestly. Yeah, Ari's not a bad pick for it. And then they pick Lee Sin. Oh my god. Can we just call it here? Picking Lee Sin, like, picking Lee Sin is just an England game. I give up on GAM, dude. I have mostly just skipped this game because literally nothing has happened. I mean, yeah, stuff's happened, but like, I'm sorry, GAM have just never looked in it, even though it's been close. I'm not gonna lie, like this last like 36 minutes of stream has been shit. GAM are just not in it at all. Loud are just going to continue to play like fucking old Origin. Oh my god. Or old Rogue. 2019 Rogue. Oh my god. This is just sad. And I know I'm still on 2 times speed. I couldn't watch this game normally. Oh my god. And it still feels like it's taken forever. So actually it's only been like 15 minutes. Oh, Jesus, guys. Save me. This game's been a lot worse. I'm not gonna lie. Lee Sin's still a bad pick, who can do stuff at points, but then instantly becomes shit. Giaya and GAM don't know what macro is right now. Tinones knows how to play. I can't even remember how to say her name. Orianna, there we go. Ori. I can keep calling it Ori, so I keep forgetting the rest of her name. But yeah, this is going to be game. They use the TPs to save minion waves, and that's game. Nice, cool, fun. See ya.